was just putting it all on you there.
Sure were. It's Owlboy. Welcome to Owlboy. This is Game Soup. Welcome to Game Soup. This is Owlboy.
My name is Owl.
My name is Boy. What a crazy coincidence. Owlboy. This game has been in development for 9 years, Joe. You know where I was 9 years ago? I was still in the womb. That's how long this game has been in development.
Wow.
But it's finally out, and I'm happy to say, even though I only heard about it recently, it must have been worth the wait for the people that were excited for it 9 years ago. Because so far, it's been a great experience. A great experience.
Are we going to skip these cutscenes so we can get to the action?
Yeah, this you actually can't skip.
Oh, you can't skip this part?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
We're planning on... Yeah, we want to show the gameplay for it and not spoil too much of the story, because this is a very heavily story-driven game.
Right. Right, so we're going to try to skip cutscenes whenever we can, but I would like to give a decent summary of the gameplay itself. So, can't skip that. But you can see the entire game is basically revolving around flight.
Yeah, you play as a bird.
Well, yeah, you play as an owl. You play as you sort of like the Mallow, Mario RPG Mallow, who's a really, really terrible tadpole. Because he's secretly what is he? A cloud?
Yeah.
I get that feel from this. I don't know anything about the story except for like the first couple hours. And nothing super spoiler heavy has happened, but just because the story in this game is pretty... How do I put this? There's a lot more story in this game than other similar games in this genre, you know?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will enjoy this game for its story, and the characters are all really, really well done. So if you're one of those people who likes to play these kinds of games, and you like a good story, I think this is going to be a nice balance between the two. So you can see the gameplay. This is basically the meat of the gameplay. Most of your time is going to be spent in areas like this, where you're flying around, or platforming, or in dungeons. There are some Zelda-like dungeons with extremely complicated layouts, and lots of switches and puzzles. A lot of puzzles. So if you're a fan of that, you're going to like this a lot.
So this game's firmly in the adventure genre, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. From what I hear, it takes about 8 to 10 hours to complete. I'm only maybe 2 or 3 hours in? I think that's about right.
But yeah, we're starting a new file
Right,
here.
we are starting a new file because the part of the game that I thought was not spoilery was actually extremely spoilery.
Yeah. So this is our second time.
Right.
Our second attempt at recording. Because we didn't want to spoil something that was a few hours into the game for everybody.
So, good choice. Good on you, Ed and Joe.
I thought... Never mind.
Oh.
Owl and Boy.
Owl and Boy. Oh, a secret! A secret! So this is kind of the nature of the secrets in this game. A lot of them are found by walking through things that don't look like you can walk through them.
Yeah, that's kind of a classic trope in 2D platformer games.
Kind of really encourages you to explore every single inch. Hyper Light Drifter did that a lot too. I didn't love it in that game though. Oh Jesus, what was that?
So I guess we can state the obvious. The graphics in this game are very good.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When a game has been in development for 9 years, I guess this is what the animations and graphics will look like. We should say that they're amazing. I would say amazing. Yeah.
They're high resolution for pixel art, but I think they're still within the category of pixel art.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, I read a Steam review on the page for Owlboy. Somebody said if the N64 never happened and instead Nintendo made a Super Nintendo 2, this would have been the best game on it. That kind of makes sense, right? Like, this is one of those games that could have been on a 64-bit 2D game console? Something crazy like that. It's just so detailed. And the amount of animation frames that everything has in this game. Even just down to, like, the grass and those...
if gaming hadn't gone 3D...
Yeah, like this would be...
We might have wound up with a lot more games like this, though. But the artist on this game is obviously very talented. You probably wouldn't wind up with a lot of games looking this good.
Right.
You'd be lucky to get an artist like this on your game.
And the writing as well. All the characters are really fun, and they each have, they actually have real personalities, and they're relatable. So that's something that you don't see a whole lot. Not necessarily because people don't do it well, but just because it's not something that's always attempted in games like this. You get that in certainly story-driven games like visual novels and such, but in a game like this, I don't know, a little bit less common. Like Cave Story gave me that kind of feeling, but I think this is even more in depth than that by a significant margin. So there's a lot of exploration going on here, lots to discover. I think the best thing to do is go into it as blind as you can. Can we skip this? No. That's unfortunate. If you don't want to be spoiled, you can look away and just listen to us. But this isn't really anything super spoiler heavy.
It is the beginning of the game, too.
Yeah, it's the first, 10 minutes by now. I did skip the very first cutscene, which is actually where most of the important things are set up. So, you're not really going to be spoiled, because we skipped most of the stuff that there is to spoil so far. So this guy Getty, is our buddy. Alright. So we got our first companion. As far as I know, there are definitely at least 2. It looks like there are spots for 3 in this menu. Our first one is Getty. So he is a mechanic. He's sort of the Luca, if this is a Chrono Trigger. But it's not.
He's the technical guy.
Yeah. And one of the coolest things...
smart one.
This is probably the defining mechanic in this game, and I'm happy to say that it's done extremely well, is that, I can't even do it yet. I can't even do it. Very soon we'll be able to carry this guy, like pick him up from anywhere, carry him around, and shoot. If you're playing with him, you can shoot. There's another character that does a different ability, but he has this gun that shoots pellets, so you can fly and also shoot.
I thought it said grab over him. You sure you can't grab him yet?
Let me see. Maybe you're right. Yes!
Yeah,
it works. Go. Okay, cool. So this is the meat of the gameplay. So you can drop...
You aim with the right stick? Is that how that
You aim with the right stick, yes. You can pick this guy up and shoot, and you can activate switches and kill enemies, because that's something that you can't actually do as just the owl. All you can do is spin, and you can do like a dodge roll sort of thing. But this is really your main attack.
It looks really fun.
It is really fun. So you get to fly, which is one of the funnest things in gaming.
Dash through the air.
Yeah, and also...
He's dead.
I love that. Even the animations
in the clouds.
like those. Yeah, he has that animation whenever he falls into.
How do you get back up there?
Well, you teleport. It's a game. But like whenever you can slam him into a wall, and he'll always do that. He'll do that cartoony sort of,
Yeah, a lot of different animations for the characters.
Gravity defying. Now that we have his gun, we can come back here and break this. So it's a very organically teaching game, educationally instructing you on how to play the game and what all the mechanics are for. Like we passed those barrels on the way in, and we couldn't break them just with our default attack. And now that we have this gun, they just, they're easy to destroy. So, and that has also been a recurring theme. Everything in this game is taught to you pretty organically. I have to commend it. I don't have any gripes at all with the way it's been done so far. Like I said, I'm not that far in.
Yeah, that's the best way to learn.
Yeah, it's extremely well done.
Showing rather than telling is always better, whenever possible.
Right. So, man, I have to imagine that the animation took most of 9 years, just based on how detailed it is.
There's a lot of characters already, and a lot of different elements.
Yeah, and it's an extremely detailed game, and like the dungeons, the one major dungeon that I've been in so far has taken up most of that time. It's an extremely.
Oh, no.
There we go. The dungeon was gigantic. So if you really like that feeling of getting lost in a dungeon, like in Zelda, for instance, you're gonna feel right at home. We throw this guy up. Oh no!
At least he doesn't die.
I wasn't reading. I should have been reading. Patrol for pirates. Can we get up there? No. So that is the exit from this area. So I guess that's a no-go. It's a no-go. Let's go this way. Like, look at all those layers of parallax. That's a lot of parallax.
I think we have 4.
And for clouds,
Maybe 5.
When's the last time you saw that much detail on a cloud? In a 2D game like this. Here we go. Can we skip this? No, we can't skip it. So don't read. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't read. And the developers for this game are D-Pad Studio. And if you think that sounds familiar, that's because their last title, which was called Savant Ascent, was shown here on the channel not too long ago. Well, like last year, maybe?
Yeah, that was a while.
It wasn't super long ago.
Okay, let's have an argument about it. I think that I think that it was a long time ago.
Okay.
Is that the side I'm taking?
Yeah, I think it was not that long ago.
Okay.
But, I mean, those are both relative terms, so how can we ever win? Nobody can win this argument.
Okay, I'll concede.
Okay. Well, you concede. All right, that's the right thing to do. Oh, what did they say?
But yeah, that was a fun game.
Yeah. And that was a game, my mapping machine is incredible. That was a game that they released during the development of this game.
Yeah, it's on a much smaller scale than
Yeah.
this. This is a full adventure, and that was more of a small arcade game, which is what we're trying to develop right now. We're working on an arcade style game, but we bit off more than we expected to. Not more than we
Well,
can chew, but more than we expected to.
That's kind of what every...
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
every game has some amount of scope creep, I guess,
No,
when you're developing
yeah.
it. So we're learning though.
Nobody who starts developing a game is like, oh man, that was exactly as much work as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Or a film, or whatever you're doing. If you're writing a film or a
every
book,
project
or
I've ever done has taken longer than expected.
every creative project. Yeah, exactly. So, and I can imagine being the developers of this game, and like having this sort of scope all set out and laid out from the beginning, and then getting into it like this and realizing, oh my god, this is gigantic. This is a giant project. You know, so it's a good thing it's not something like Duke Nukem Forever, which was in development hell for like a decade maybe, and also was not good when it came out. More story.
Yeah, you can tell a lot of love was put into this.
Yeah.
This was really the game that the team wanted to make.
And I'm also strongly reminded of, for example, Super Mario RPG, in the way that this game is expressive with 2D sprites. Like look at his face. Otis is his name, the owl. Look at his face.
Yeah.
That's an expression you're going to see a lot. You know, sometimes when things are serious, and also sometimes when things are funny. But they're done just right. Good luck. Oh, thanks. Oops. So long, sucker.
I thought you wanted us to bring him. We don't need to bring him?
Maybe he'll come along. A lot of the times, I mean, this game has a lot of QOL is not really the right way to say it, quality of life. But, like, for example, if you're entering a cutscene, the character that's with you will automatically appear next to you, so you don't have to, like, go back and grab him and bring him.
Yeah,
you know?
that seems...
Like, that's obnoxious.
That seems like that would be really annoying, yeah.
So in, I don't know, if you play for another hour or so, you get to a point where you have the ability to teleport your companion from anywhere directly to you. And that shows up relatively early, which is good because it allows for a lot more creativity in puzzles, and a lot more design space in the dungeons. But for right now, just because we're setting everything up...
If you get 3 characters, it would be kind of a pain to carry 3 characters. You have to go back and forth constantly, picking it up.
Yeah, and like the one that you're not currently using just disappears, you know?
Yeah.
So it's sort of instantaneous. They don't have to, you know, they're not going to bother justifying where you can just instantly switch between 3 different characters at once. You know, like they focused on the important things. That is not an important thing. So they had I think they had their mind set on the right things. Music is good too. I want to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
They got an L block in the background here.
L block?
Couple
Oh
of
yeah,
L
you're right.
blocks.
L block. It is an L block. Oh, so here we go. Here's what is this? Some sort of root vegetable? Root fruit or root vegetable? That is how you regain your health. The most basic way to regain health is to eat things that you find in the ground. Which is also how I regain my health.
There's a lot of different types of fruit,
Oh, there are so many. There are so many, man.
and they all do the same thing.
Yeah, I think they all restore a slightly different amount of health. Like some will give you a whole one of those blocks.
Right.
Some will just give you a little bit, which is good.
The UI is fairly minimal.
Yeah,
It's pretty nice.
yeah.
Drop it on his head.
It's good that there are different. Oh,
No, it
nothing.
doesn't do anything.
That there are health refills of different sizes, so that the developers can give you the size of health refill that is appropriate for the situation. Like they're not going to overfill your health if it's supposed to be a really difficult part, you know?
Yeah,
They have a little bit more flexibility,
that's true.
but it's a lot more animation and a lot more coding, so, you know, again, it just goes back to like showing the amount of love that was in the game, put into the game. Like things that don't necessarily need to be done, but are done because they're out of love, you know? I guess that's a good way to say it. So lots of exploration, lots of secrets, and there's an NPC a little bit later on that gives you... Actually, we might be able to get to it from here. Yeah, like here's an example. This is telling you all the coins that are available in this area, and we've only gotten 2/3 of them. So if you're a completionist or an explorer or a collector, you're gonna find a lot to enjoy, I think. You know?
Yeah.
It's got like this very Zelda-style item screen as well.
We're not collectors.
No, we're not
on
collectors.
GS.
But, I mean, you know, if a game
But
is
it's there
compelling enough, yeah.
if you want it.
Yeah. So there's a troublemaker. Yeah, this is not too spoilery. I'm not really worried about this. Okay, so we can't get through here unless we shoot our way through.
Oh, and then he gets away.
And he gets away, you jerk.
I like the design on that guy.
Yeah.
It looks neat.
Yeah, I really like all the character designs, actually. You know, the companion character here, this guy Getty, as well as all the other NPCs in the village so far that have not been owls, they give me, oh man, what is it, like a Professor Layton sort of art style kind of vibe? Like, their noses are giant red, either like cylinder, like they're just big, I don't know, they kind of look like eggplants, you know? Like red eggplant noses. That's the thing. If you look at the artwork for this game as well, you can see it much more clearly. These are just some of the basic enemies. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. If you're wondering about the challenge in the game, so far I'm finding it to be pretty appropriate. If you do dumb things like that, like I just did, and you just sort of run into a situation without planning, or you get stuck in a situation without leaving, without, you know, sort of retreating and escaping and trying to replan your strategy, you're going to get killed. Which I've done a couple times so far. But overall, it seems to be fairly nicely balanced.
Huh, another one of these secrets.
Another one of those secrets. Yeah, this is one of those games where you definitely want to touch every wall, just to make sure. So let's keep going here. Another one of those basic enemies. It gives you the enemy in isolation, so you can see what it does. As you can see, he does that. Alright then. And then you can just run over and murder him. And like, when they explode...
Another cool design. I like that guy too. I like the giant hands and forearms.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
And when he exploded, did you see how many frames were in that explosion? An inappropriate, but highly appreciated number of frames. Is that a good way to put it? It's a ridiculous amount of frames. It's the little things, you know, the details. Like, the game is already cohesive, and just the details are icing on the cake. Which is what details usually are.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. Alright, so we have a limited tool set right now. So what do you think? Clearly, we can go up, but we can't get through here, right?
They're held together by spider webs.
Right, so we have, like,
There's
two
a
options.
rock on the floor there.
There is a rock, and that was pretty obvious, right? So you pick it up, and you can aim. Alright.
Yeah, it's bigger, so maybe it'll get through there.
Okay.
It blew it up.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory.
So now we know how to use rocks.
Yeah. The major mechanic with the first dungeon is using clouds, sort of. I mean, it's one of the major mechanics. And that is also introduced in a similar fashion. You know, introduce it in isolation, get the player used to it, get them sort of expecting it, you know?
Got this guy again.
And then iterate and build on it in a way that is challenging, but also logical. So far I've really enjoyed it. And again, I don't want to spoil anything by giving, like, concrete examples.
Do we want a rock or a man? I'll take the rock.
I would like a rock, yeah. I would like a rock. So extremely story driven. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Can we skip this? No. We cannot. Just don't read. Just don't read.
I know we've been separated.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. It's cool.
I mean, it is the first hour or so of the game, right? So it's it's not a huge amount of spoilers.
Yeah, we haven't really even gotten to the main part of the story yet. This is all just still setting it up, you know? This is a cool thing. Spin mechanic.
Is this some kind of an explanation on the wall here?
I don't know what this is actually.
Roman numerals on there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure what that is.
If you want to spend some time, you know, researching it, or if you're into the cryptic parts of games, you might find something of value there, but I kind of just skipped right past it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So we noticed that we can't actually kill this guy?
Yeah, we need a gun to kill
We
him.
do need a gun. We do need a gun.
We can't just spin at him. How are we going to get our gun guy back? Do we have to go all the way back?
Oh, I think if we just keep going here, we'll find a way through. I think. However... Oops. I'm pretty sure this works. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to throw it.
Well, you got another chance.
Maybe you can't throw it. Oh god, I can't remember. It hasn't even been that long. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
you
you
can. So yeah, this guy's kind of like tucked away in this little tunnel, and you literally can't pass by without taking a hit, you know?
Unless we got a gun.
Can we do that? Oh, we can do that. Okay. So you can dodge roll into him and then sneak past.
Yeah.
You know,
so
but this is
while he's flashing, you can get through him.
But this is intentionally very short so that you're forced to deal with the threat, sort of, you know? Alright. It's pretty simple. Yeah, I'm really enjoying my time with this game so far. It's not very often that I play a game that it gets me so heavily invested in it so quickly. Like, what's another 2D game that has managed... Like, Undertale. You know, I think there are inevitably going to be comparisons to Undertale in terms of the story, the characters, and the sort of delivery of those things.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know, the sense of humor and the likability of all the characters. But don't get me wrong, this is not an RPG. It's definitely an adventure game.
So that guy had armor on.
Yeah, he did. So we already saw that enemy, but this time we have a variation of that enemy with armor. Okay, this is a puzzle. So let's see.
You think we want to match all these diamonds up?
That was pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
So the first one was already done for us, up here. All we had to do is hit this one once and then hit this one twice. So that's sort of an organic way of teaching you that puzzle, you know?
I have a feeling it's going to get a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And once the dungeons, well, I guess I'll talk about the main dungeon that I've seen. In that main dungeon, it's an extremely complex, like each set of rooms is sort of interconnected and they sort of depend on each other, and you can change you know how in like the water temple, for example, in Ocarina of Time, you can change the water level, and that gets you access to new parts of the dungeon. It's got elements of that, you know, where abilities will allow you access to places that were previously locked off, and you were shown them, so you knew you wanted to get to them at some point.
Yeah.
So
is it like a Metroidvania, or is it?
I mean, it's certainly got elements of that.
Yeah.
It's certainly got elements of that.
It seems a little bit more linear.
Yeah, I think because it's story driven, it's going to be a little bit more linear than that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So far, the locations have been. It depends on where you are in the story. You know, like once you're out of here and some story stuff happens here, then you have to go to the dungeon and you'll go to the dungeon. And then once you're out of the dungeon, this other stuff will happen in the story, and then you're going to be in a new zone. And you can't just. I mean, I guess you could backtrack, but there's no reason to. You know. So it's a little bit more linear in that sense. But it does certainly have elements of Metroidvania. But man, is it fun. It's really fun to just fly around and kill stuff, you know?
Yeah, the control looks really fun.
Yeah, it controls really well. So far, my only gripe about the controls has been, for example, I wonder if I can find an example here. Like, if there is a switch or like a jar in the ground that you want to pull up. You know, I've been pulling up those jars occasionally in like a treasure chest. If the chest is right here, I have to drop this guy right here, and then if I go over here, I might be too close to this guy where I just grab him instead, like that.
Yeah.
So there are times when like I'm trying to grab something off the ground, like a you know, health refill or something, and I keep going and I keep grabbing this guy by mistake. So I keep grabbing and I drag him over here and throw him off a cliff and then go back over and grab the thing. You know? So
yeah.
it's a little bit like kind of an unwieldy mechanic. It's kind of frustrating when that happens, but it's a small gripe, you know? It's not a core part of the game anyway, so.
Yeah, you're usually not going to be in danger while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So it just takes a couple extra seconds. Oh,
Yeah.
you probably got to leave him up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, most of the time when that happens, it's just like, oh god, I forgot. I'm too close to the companion. I better better move out of the way a little bit. So we don't yet have the ability to recall our friend here.
So he's stuck back there, standing on a button.
He's standing on a button. So let's see if we can figure out a way to free him. Let's see. Maybe one of these? See, like, this would be an example. If you were going to pull this out of the ground, then your companion's standing right here. Oh, God. Oh, this looks heavy. Maybe we'll go use this.
Oh, yeah, just drop them the button, and we can bring our guy.
Yeah. This is just the introduction of these sort of switch puzzles, and... Yeah, I think it's set to default so that no matter what you're trying to pick up, you will always pick up a companion if a companion is...
It'll prioritize.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. He didn't die. So yeah, really enjoyable so far. Really enjoying my time with it. I don't know. What else? Is there anything we haven't talked about yet? We talked about the graphics. They look great. The sound design is really excellent as well. The soundtrack, I think you can buy the soundtrack separately even. But yeah, it's got all the makings of a well, I don't want to say, what do I want to say?
An instant classic.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. You know, at the very least a cult classic, and almost certainly a nomination for Game of the Year, being that this year is almost over anyway.
Yeah, I think it's gotten a lot of press coverage already.
Yeah.
And I saw there's a lot of reviews on Steam.
I mean, it's always a big deal when a game like this comes out after being in development for so long.
Yeah.
Especially, like, when's the last time you heard of a 2D game being in development for 9 years? That's crazy, right? It just seems so unheard of. So it's already, just by the fact that it's released, sort of, not controversial, but, you know, worth talking about. Yes, let's skip this cutscene to avoid spoilers. It didn't really skip much, but here's a boss. Here's our first boss. Let's say, we can't damage him. Alright. This is where combining your abilities comes in. So you can knock off that armor, which we already did. We did that not too long ago with those green flying enemies.
Right.
And then you have to switch to your companion buddy, and that's how you shoot him and deal damage. So you're combining your spin ability with your buddy's shooting ability, you know?
Yeah, just easing us into the mechanics here.
And it gets pretty hectic. You might be able to imagine this later when you have 2 or more companions, where you encounter a situation where you need to switch between the owl's attacks, the owl's attacks, and this guy's attacks, and another character's attacks, all within a couple of seconds. You can imagine how hectic that might get, you know?
So they just stand on the ground waiting for you to pick them up if you have multiple characters?
Yeah, you can only have one at a time, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, if you just drop them, they'll just hang out there, you know?
Right.
There are certain times where they'll appear next to you. I think this is where we get it, actually. You get the ability to recall your buddy from anywhere. Let's see. So we're stuck here. Can't go through.
We need to throw something into that wall there.
We do. How about...
Maybe we can throw this, this mask thing here.
I kind of like that, how that was just left over, you know? From the boss fight.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool touch.
Do we need our guy here? Oh, there he is.
There he is, yeah. Yeah, for cutscenes, I mean, that'll happen automatically, I think, for the most part. But this is where we get that ability to recall our buddies.
Oh, good.
So you get it pretty early on. Oh, it's this guy again. It's this guy. Oh, this is really interesting. So you're like, how do I get out of here? So you can't jump or move or anything, but you actually have to do this back and forth thing. Kind of cool. Lots of little touches like that.
Spin him out of here?
Yeah.
Kind of figured that's how it would go.
Like that's a nice, fun little... I mean, it's hardly even a mini game, you know? It's just an interesting mechanic that is... Well, so far I haven't seen it again, but, you know, it's just kind of interesting. Lots of love.
That is kind of crazy that it's just... They used... they took the time to do something that you only do once, as far as we know, in the game.
That's happened a couple more times with different mechanics in the game already, and I'm only a couple hours in.
Yeah, it seems like they spared no expense.
Yeah.
As far as taking the time to put everything that they wanted to in the game so far.
I would love to read about the development of this game. I'm just curious. Did they set their goals and then ignore how long it was going to take? Just knowing that it was going to take a long time, but we're just like, we're not going to sacrifice anything to get this game out quickly. We're just going to get it and do it at our own pace. I mean, that's the kind of feeling that I get from it. But
yeah, really. Were there any other games besides Savannah Ascent that we know of that these guys put out?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Because I've seen there's a lot of developers that'll just put out one big title and then you don't hear from them.
Yeah.
After that.
I think that's my favorite animation for the main character. When his eyes are just 1 pixel each.
Yeah, it's goofy.
Yeah, it's really goofy. I love it.
And one thing I was going to mention, the textures in this game are amazing.
The textures, huh?
Yeah, the way everything is rendered.
Ah.
It's really professional. Like the stone,
Like
the rocks look like rocks and the stone looks like stone and the grass is it's really detailed, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything. And when we were testing out the game before, we were on like a pirate ship.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the wood grain on it looked incredible. It's really well. Oh, here you go. Here's some more example of wood grain. This isn't quite as great of an example of it because it's smaller, but
You mean those barrels that I just destroyed?
yeah, and this
Like
this
this,
stuff,
yeah.
just the texture of everything in
Yeah.
the game really the artist definitely knows his stuff.
I mean, Joe, you're an artist. How long did it take to draw this box?
I don't know. A couple hours maybe. I don't
Couple
know.
hours
An
somebody
hour, maybe,
spent
a couple
of their
hours,
life.
Who knows?
Making that box.
I don't know how long it takes to make animations. I'm not an animator. I'm more of an illustrator and a comic artist. But I've just started doing animation for our game, and it's taking a long time. But I think it's going to speed up a little bit as I get better at it.
Can we skip this? No. Alright. Well, let's go outside and see what there is, and I think maybe now's a good time to call before we get any more spoilers going on here. Okay, well, it's nighttime. Why is it dark all of a sudden? So something is clearly happening. But we don't want to ruin it. We'll just give you a little teaser.
Oh, there's that ship. No, that's
It's-
not that ship. But
it
it
is
does
a
have
ship.
a...
Like, look at those ships. They look so cool. Yeah, I think that the art direction is spot on, and I'm not usually somebody who notices that kind of thing. It's not really my area of expertise.
If it took 9 years, I wonder if it was one artist doing all the artwork or if it was a team.
I wonder.
I'm not really sure.
You know, I looked on their website, D-Pad Studios. I think it's a team of 5 or 6 people.
Oh, okay.
Very small team. So I imagine that there was probably one guy doing most of the art or most of the animations or both. I don't know. Alright, so we've got those ships up there and we have to deal with that somehow. But I don't want to spoil any more of the game because there's a lot that is good on your first time through and I don't want to spoil it for you. So why don't we just call it there then, huh?
All right.
So Owlboy, I think hopefully we've given you a good summation of what the basic gameplay is like. It's available now. Get it on Steam or Good Old Games, and check it out. Yeah, it's going to be well worth your time. We'll see you next time.
Which button is it again?